Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Italy a Place to Love YouTube channel. Italy a place to love and Italy a place to know. So today I want to bring to your attention a very interesting story that I found on the CNBC.com. Okay, and this is the story of an American girl, American in her 20s, an American girl in her 20s, that anyway she decided to purchase a property in Italy. Now let me read the article and then we'll see step by step the things to say, the interesting things to say about her story. Now, 29 years old, couldn't afford a house in the US, so she bought one sight unseen in Italy. I plan to use it like a retirement plan. So now, from the title, it's very interesting that she bought an unseen house in Italy. So basically, she purchased this property without even going to look at personally. Then anyway, nowadays with our technologies, with the videos, with the streams, with the lives, so it's possible to show anyway the property. Anyway, her name is Lauren, saying she couldn't afford to buy a house in the United States, so she started looking abroad. So, let's keep reading. Ohio native Lauren, 29, had lived in Los Angeles for 10 years working as a freelancer in the film industry, when she decided she was ready to buy a house. At the time, Lauren lived in a studio apartment and paid $1,200 in rent a month. Okay, so now here it's interesting because anyway, I think it's important for someone in his 20s or early 30s, that you want to buy a property. So that's interesting anyway, nothing wrong with her. So I can understand this kind of goal for from a person in her mid-20s or early 30s. Then Lauren started her search in 2019 and wanted to stay under $400,000, but then the pandemic hit in early 20s and she found herself outbid every time she put in an offer on homes in the city. So in the beginning she gave herself a budget, $400,000, which is a kind of big amount, but then in the end things anyway around us go not always as we want, and anyway then she found herself outbid anytime she was putting an offer for a home for sale. I didn't think I was ever going to be able to buy in California, much less in Los Angeles, which is somewhere I've kind of called it home for such a long time, and that's really sucked, Lauren tells to the CNBC. So now it's a pity when you see you cannot afford a house in the place where you work. So, and I can say that it could be kind of depressive, being thinking that maybe you might have to pay a rent forever. Anyway, so Lauren realized buying in California was close to impossible, so she started looking in other states like Florida, where her family lives. She quickly realized she wouldn't be able to find a job that would match her current lifestyle. So basically she also had to drop the idea to buy a house in Florida, simply because she couldn't match with her jobs. So if she works in the film industry, I'd say California and Los Angeles is a must. Reminds me when my dream was to move to Los Angeles to work in the film industry. Now, Lawrence was also disappointed in the quality of life in the United States and set her sights on Mexico, so that was her first option, Portugal and Italy, because they all had weather similar to California. Let's say, maybe Italy not really like California, but warm enough, let's say, and very short winters. Lauren found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhouse, 1 hour outside Florence. So in the end, anyway, I'm gonna say The contention between locals and expats over rising housing costs made Lauren dismiss Mexico and Portugal pretty quickly. So she focused on properties in Italy. She set a budget of $50,000 and did her house hunting online. Perfect. So anyway, she set a small budget comparing to with the $400,000 she set in California. Now for Italy she set a budget of 50,000, which I firmly agree, totally agree. I mean, to try to buy the cheapest property as possible, the lowest price as possible. I didn't fly over and bought sight unseen, which I don't recommend. I don't recommend as well personally, but if there's no other option and let's say you find a very trustworthy agent, why not? Anyway, you have to be sure, you have to feel confident with the person that you are dealing with. So Lawrence says, I reached out to a lot of agents and just ended up paying somebody to do it all for me. Again, it's an interesting thing anyway, to deal, for example, personally with someone and try to help him in the process of purchasing a property. After several weeks of searching, Lauren found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhouse 1 hour outside of Florence. So the location is perfect. 1 hour from Florence, I'd say in Tuscany, so it's you are making a dream becoming true. And 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a townhouse for a single person. Anyway, she's not saying she's in a relationship, she doesn't have children, so I'd say it's a perfect house for someone to buy. She could walk and use public transportation, which was a big priority for her. I didn't want to deal with a car since I'm not there full time, and just being in the mountains and having that view made me feel super at peace, Lauren says. So probably this house has also, anyway, a beautiful view from the house. The townhouse had been on the market for 32,000 euros, which is $35,000. The previous owner told her the price was set low because the hot water boiler would need repairs. Anyway, it's normal to have some works to do when we buy a property. And anyway, it was nice to find this property for such a cheap amount of money. She left it completely furnished and just wanted to get out and move to a different part of Italy, but was having problems selling the home, Lauren says. I was really lucky because there's nothing wrong with it except for needing to replace that one part of the home. Now, that's amazing. And anyway, the good thing is that as me, for example, as many properties in Italy, you can buy already furnished. So that's less expenses on top. Then you can always, anyway, change whatever you want to change. But what's better than find a house already furnished? Alright, so she was really lucky. Lauren paid the full asking price of $35,000 and an additional $4,500 in closing costs. So let's say around $40,000 in the end. That's what she paid. So we can say she paid nothing for a townhouse, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1 hour from Florence for less than 40,000 euro. Come on, and you're buying a property in Italy. So anyway, not wanting to deplete her savings, Lauren secured a $20,000 personal loan from a local bank to help purchase the house, according to documents reviewed and so on. Lauren closed on the townhouse in August 2022 and flew to see it in person for the first time in November. So 4 months after she bought the house. And says when she first arrived she was overcome with emotion. Obviously, you are fully emotional simply because you are entering in your own property. And this in particular for someone who is young, I mean, wow, when you have the keys in your hands, you are feeling like you are the owner of the house. It was just surreal feeling. I couldn't believe I own a home in my 20s because I didn't think this would ever happen. I think I cried too, Lawrence said. Anyway, that's amazing to be the owner of a property. Then obviously the fact that you are not living full time in this house, that's another story. But anyway, her story is quite interesting. Let's keep reading. Lauren's original plan for the house was to rent it out, but she realized she didn't want to deal with issues that could arise with tenants or short-term renters. I can agree. Anyway, this is always an option to decide to rent the house out. Anyway, you can generate a little income, but anyway, if you're not really in desperate need of money, I mean, you keep the house just for you, and then in the future you can always decide what to do. The cost of just having it empty would probably outweigh the cost of renting it out and having somebody break in something. So yeah, better to keep it out. You know, if you rent it out, something may be break, and then you have to spend anyway. I believe maybe the rent she might get, the income she might get from the rent might not even be high, so I'd say less chance, for example, to waste money in case someone is breaking something. I always recommend to rent it out if you have a trusted agent who can look after for you if you are not local, or if you are over there. Then I might say yes, go for it. I'm kind of protective over my house. Now, I understand her feelings to be protective over her house, and this for me is only her first house. I believe with this mentality she can even set more goals in her life. Now, Lauren visits Italy twice a year now and uses the townhouse as a vacation home, which is, I mean, what you want more in your life. You have a holiday home, which for me is perfect. I think many people, many Americans, for example, or British, who cannot really get the visa here, but at least you have a holiday home, and if you not rent it, you are not generating any income, you are not gonna pay mad money in taxes. So she visits Italy twice a year now and uses the townhouse as a vacation home. But she is currently trying to secure a digital nomad visa to stay in the country for a while. Why not? Anyway, always open more opportunities. In 2024, Italy launched its visa for remote workers. For example, I wasn't aware about this, so it gives the chance either to younger people, you know, anyway, to get the chance to have a visa, allowing a one-year residency with the option to renew for highly skilled professionals to work remotely as employees or as self-employed freelancers. Very good. I'm hoping at some point within the next year I can officially move, but if I ended up staying in the States, I plan to use it as more of a retirement plan, because I know I'm not going to be able to retire in the US, she said. Now, this is an important paragraph, I think, because anyway, she's stating that she's not sure she would be able to move to this house that she bought in Italy, and only maybe using it as a holiday home. She might end up staying in the States, but anyway, giving you the option even for your retirement plans. Anyway, you always have an opportunity, and then so many things are gonna happen in the year, so maybe you can even generate some income, or you might just keep it for yourself for your holidays home, so, or might even increase in value. Who knows? You know, things are changing. And that's what I also bet a lot, in things that are changing. Because I also believe that in the coming years, people will try to leave the cities. I believe in the next 2, 3, 5 years, that people will run to live in small villages. This is my opinion, then I might be wrong. Anyway, she thinks let me say, I plan to use it as more of a retirement plan because I know I'm not going to be able to retire in the US. So she's even thinking, okay, I might retire in Italy because in the US she doesn't see any chances to retire. I'm not aware of the retiring system in the United States, but anyway, I'm thinking of it more as a long-term investment to get out of the US. As a freelancer, it's actually concerning because I don't always have healthcare. I don't have a 401k. The 401k, I think, is the pension scheme, and I can't afford to invest in the United States. So I think just being able to know that I have something secure and a place to call my own for when I'm older is really comforting. Obviously, people has to think about the future, in particular if you are in your 20s, and this is only the beginning. I believe that with this mentality, someone can go very far. If you start seeing that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Anyway, we have to see where the opportunities are coming. What is my budget? Alright, so they're showing here the beautiful view from our townhouse. Anyway, was a major selling point for Lauren, because obviously also for me to have a beautiful view is always, I mean, it's nice. Lauren says though she was excited to be able to buy a house, the feeling was bittersweet because she was only able to do so outside of the US, the country where she was born and raised. It makes me sad because what's keeping me here is my parents. I don't want to move all across the world and then not be able to see my family a lot, she says. For example, I understand this can be, but all the people who are moving, for example, they are not seeing their family quite often. It's sad to know that my parents could buy a home and my grandparents could too, but with inflation it's not accessible for my generation anymore. I don't think it's not gonna be impossible anymore. I think this generation has to have a more positive attitude. Maybe now they cannot afford to buy, but in the future, who knows? I don't think that's fair to our generation and the ones coming after us. Anyway, the thing to say is that for the young generation and the younger generation coming, it could be very hard for them to, anyway. I see this problem in many countries in Europe. So then Lauren still lives in Los Angeles, now in a one-bedroom apartment where she pays $1,700 a month, including a parking space. She's also still freelancing, but she has shifted to content creation and social media work. And though she's trying to figure out just how much time she will spend in her Italy house, the one thing Lauren knows for sure is that she has no plans on buying a home in America. I'd say, not for now. We always have to see the opportunities, but for now she's the owner of a house in Italy. Anyway, what is important is to be the owner of something, according to me. And so it's hard, not because I think having one property is a blessing, but anything can happen, she says. I don't want to completely demolish my savings or go into debt to buy a home here, especially with the state of the country right now. Now, I don't want to judge the state of the country because anyway, I don't see, even Italy, I don't see the state of the country in a very good shape. I don't see Germany in a good shape. I don't see UK in a good shape. I don't see France. That's not really important because anyway, we have to see the future in a long term, in particular if you are in your 20s. You cannot really, this young generation doesn't have to depress themselves that much. They have to be optimists because anyway, chances will always come. If we are doing well, if you are setting goals, if you know what you want, you will get what you want. That's what I believe, even in hard times. But I agree, for example, I would never go in favor of someone in his 20s or early 30s who is going, for example, to apply for a mortgage, $500,000 mortgage. That could really put you in a stressful situation if things are going bad. So that's why personally I don't recommend. I'd say I'd rather wait, I'd rather buy a cheap property somewhere, but I would avoid to enter in a $500,000, 400,000, 1 million mortgage in that early age. Maybe more if you have a very, very stable job in your mid-30s, try to go for this big amount if you have children. But anyway, for me things are turning a bit complicated in a medium term, short, medium. So I'd say if I'm going to invest in a property that costs $500,000 and then I'm gonna lose my job and then I won't be able to repay back my mortgage, the destiny of that house is kind of clear. I saw that in many cases in 2008, and I don't wish people to repeat the same mistake. So stay at the window, look at the situation, but I consider that this girl, Lauren, she really took the right decision. I hope many young people are going to watch this video. Maybe even I know people who are watching my videos are not very young, but if you have children, if you have grandchildren and nephews, recommend these type of things, because probably you see them not owning anything, so give them this as a recommendation. Find another country, doesn't have to be necessary Italy. Alright my friends, so I hope you have enjoyed this video here on Italy A Place to Love YouTube channel, and I'll see you here on Italy A Place to Love and Italy A Place to Know with new videos and new adventures. Bye for now. Bye!